So I'm going to talk about the Aquamax Eco. It's a German-made pond pump, which is designed to pump water from your pond through into a filter or into a waterfall. It comes in a huge range of sizes, from about 4,000 litres as far up as 20,000 litres. This one is somewhere in the middle of the range at 12,000. In the outside of the cage, there are some big holes. These holes are designed to let water in and also to let in solids. So what you do with this pump is you put it in the bottom of the pond, and it'll take in lumps of muck and dirt from the bottom of the pond, bits of leaf stems, that kind of thing. They'll go straight through the outside of the cage. If there's anything that's too big, that'll be stopped by the outside of it. Leaves will stick to the outside the cage, but they won't block up the water flow because the leaf will stick flat against it and water can still flow underneath through these little ridges along the top of it. When you first set the thing up, put it in the bottom of the pond. It's going to be connected to the electricity supply. You've got a cable. It's 10 metres long. It's about 30 odd feet, so more than enough for most people's purposes. At the other end of it, once the water's come in, the water's got to leave the pump, and it's going to come out via this little hose tail here. To that, you're going to connect a hose pipe, which will fit onto one of these sizes. So we've got a piece of hose pipe here. This is 1.5 inch hose, 40mm. It's the biggest size that this pump will take using this particular type of hose tail. There is another hose tail that lets you do a bigger hose if you need to, a 50mm hose pipe. What you do is you're going to put this onto the hose tail. What you do first though is cut off the smaller pieces that you don't need. So if you're using a 40mm, you'd cut it off at this point here where it turns into a slightly smaller pipe before you put it on, because that can restrict the flow and stop water from leaving the pump quite so quickly. So you put it onto there, having cut it off, and then on the outside of it you'd use a clip to secure it in place. In normal use, water's drawn in through the outside of the pump, through the holes in the cage, and then it gets pushed out to elsewhere in your pond. The other way you can use these pumps is to draw water from elsewhere, from a skimmer attached to the pump elsewhere in the pond that would draw water directly from there instead of from the outside of this, this cage. If you want to do that, you take off this cap that comes on the front of it, and you can attach a hose tail to it. This hose tail is exactly the same as the hose tail for the outlet of the pump. So water will be drawn in through this from the skimmer. The amount of water that's drawn in from here can be set by you. So initially it's set up so that it will draw no water. But if you want to, what you need to do is take off the top of the cage, which is really easy with 4 little clips. Move that to one side, and you're going to lift this up and slide it along. As you slide it along, there are a series of notches that allow you to take 20% increments. So over here it's not taking any water. Move it along, it's taking 20%, 40, 60 and so on. Once you've got it set to take the amount of water that you would like, so 60% from this, 40% from the outside of the cage, you put the lid back on. Once again, it's really easy, much easier than other types of pond pump. Attach your hose tail to the front, and this would have a piece of hose that goes off to your skimmer, and now 60% of the flow of the pump is going to be drawn through there and 40% through the top of the cage, but all of the water will end up going out the same way. And that keeps the surface of your pond clear, so there'll be no leaves floating around on the top or bits of green muck. For the most part, these pumps don't need cleaning. They might go on in a pond for a year or more without any cleaning from you. Maybe occasionally you want to lift it up and give it a bit of a squirt with the hose pipe, something like that. But because the pump itself can take big lumps of the muck and leaf stems that come off the bottom of your pond, you wouldn't need to worry about doing that. When it does come to cleaning, it's a really easy process. And all you'd need to do is undo the clips on the side of the lid, and then you can get inside to take out any big lumps that you might find that were in there, or get your hose pipe in, squirt it out, and you should be able to get it back to pretty much as clean as it was before. When you've done that, reassemble it, turn back on the power, and it'll work. Inside these pumps, on the bigger models, the 12,000 plus, there's a little switch, a seasonal flow control switch. It's set for off at the moment. To turn it on, obviously, you just slide it along. And what that does is that in the winter, when the pump detects that the temperature's a bit lower, it will slow down the water flow. Usually ponds in the winter don't need the pump to be working as fast, and pumps cost money to run. So in the winter, it slows down its flow, saves you some money, and the water flow being a bit reduced doesn't really make any difference to the pond.